Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is going to just be a little bit of a free-form discussion, quick video. You know, nothing too overly edited. I'm not going to try to get a bunch of images to use in this one. Just kind of wanted to do a discussion on some recent topics that have come up in the Power Rangers fandom for a while now, ever since we learned about Hasbro's new universe. But the discussion has been amped up a little bit over the recent days because of more information that's been coming out about it showing up on Netflix with multiple different versions. And there's lots of anxieties about what this new Power Rangers is going to be like and if it's going to destroy what Power Rangers is. And we have to say destroy because we can't use the word kill because it's Power Rangers. I just kind of wanted to discuss my thoughts on it and why, again, I feel like people need to really calibrate themselves and calm down about things and think about things a little bit more level-headedly. You know, I mean, first of all, when it comes to all these rumors and stuff, I mean, the only thing we really know for sure is that they're working on a new universe with multiple shows and movies, and it's going to be with Netflix. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, and I feel like people jumped the gun too soon. You know, we still don't know if the Toei rumors are confirmed. Either way, you know, we don't know if the Geodra thing's true or if they're going to completely cut it off. It's fun to speculate and talk about, but people are automatically assuming they know how it's going to turn out, and the truth is, we don't know anything. We don't know how any of these shows are going to look. And I feel like a lot of people's anxieties are that we're going to get rid of the way Power Rangers is as an adaptation and as a toku format with these shows. I mean, first let's say that there's multiple shows, so we don't know for sure that one of them won't be like that. I think that's the beauty of multiple shows. I don't personally think all the shows are going to debut at the same time. I think they'll roll out over time. But whether or not we continue adaptions, I think that it's possible one of those could be a live-action, familiar type thing. I think that's the beauty of having multiple shows. If we knew that Power Rangers was going to continue to only have one show like usual and it was going to be a reboot or an animated or whatever it was, then I could see why you'd be a little bit worried. But because there's multiple shows, there's room to still have that version you like. And even if it's not right now, there's room for them to bring it back later. So I wouldn't rule that out completely. And I feel that people are just being a little bit too close-minded about this. Because for me, I see it as something exciting. I want a change. I think that especially these last 10 years have been so stagnant and have really gotten me ready for a big change. Because, you know, I watched Power Rangers grow from when I started watching it from Mighty Morphin to RPM, and then as soon as Samurai happened, we got knocked all the way back to the starting point, and we've just kind of stayed there for 10 years, and it's really made me tired of the formula, especially since the quality has been basically, for the most part, almost the same level the whole time, and there hasn't really been a lot of change. And that's really primed me to be ready for a big change. I want something different. I feel like that's not what a lot of people want. But it's funny too because over these last 10 years I've seen a lot of people say stuff like, you know, oh man, we really need to change this, it's getting dry and boring, we need a big change, and then as soon as they announce a big change, they're like, no! It's the same thing with like, man, we need to get off Nick and go streaming or somewhere. We're going on streaming. No! What do you want? I just think that after all these years in purgatory, we're just in need for a good old-fashioned shakeup, and I think that can only be a good thing. And I find it exciting that Hasbro has enough excitement about the brand that they're going to want to branch out and try multiple different things, rather than just staying with the same live-action formula over and over again. And I feel that the fandom, for lack of a better word, is often thinking too selfishly. They're like, well, this is what's appealing about it to me, and if they do something different that appeals to other people, then I don't want it. You have to allow for other windows to be open for people. I find that there's been certain franchises in my past that I was not a fan of, and then they came out with a new version that was a little bit different than the typical stuff. And it allowed it to open a window that I was interested in. It was something that was more appealing to me, that looked more like something I was interested in, and as a result, allowed me to appreciate the older versions. I'm going to give the example of Star Trek. I wasn't a Star Trek fan until recent years. It was never my thing, but then I got into the new movies. Probably going to make a lot of those purist fans upset, but the new movies were a little bit more, as some people call them, action Trek. But that was more in line with something that was appealing to me on the surface. But that opened a window for me into that franchise, and as a result, I became a fan, and as I was able to appreciate the older stuff now. Now I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I like all aspects of it. But because they opened up something that was a little bit more appealing to me, it worked out. And I think that the same thing could happen for Power Rangers, is if they try some different takes, it might open up a new avenue for something that's not necessarily the tokusatsu niche that the main fandom likes, but might be something that's more appealing to other groups, and that will open up a window or a door to the new fans, and then they might be able to appreciate the stuff that came before. You just have to sometimes be able to look at something through a new lens to appreciate what it is overall. And I think that's a valuable thing, and I think in so many fandoms it's so gatekeeping because they're like, I just want it to be this one way and only only appeal to us. And I hate that. I wish people would be more open-minded about it, because I'm excited by the idea of them expanding and trying different formats and ideas that might bring in new fans and bring in new ideas instead of just staying appealing to this core fandom. And I think something the core fandom often forgets is how tiny the Power Rangers Toku fandom is compared to other fandoms. Like, it's a different story when you have a different take on something like Star Wars or Star Trek or Marvel or whatever, because they're big brands that there are certain universal appealing things to a larger fandom. But with Power Rangers, the niche things that are appealing are only appealing to such a small amount of people that if we only stick to those things, then we're never going to grow. I don't ever think Power Rangers is going to be an absolutely juggernaut franchise, but I think there's room for us to have a bigger franchise with more fans and more possibilities, and I'm excited by it. I'm always a bit of an oddball case though, guys. If you follow me, you know that my opinions are often very different, as I like to see change in different things. You know, I'm not interested in seeing the same thing over and over again. You know, even though obviously the format got me into it, this is going to sound weird, but I don't care so much about the tokusatsu format. So, like, if we go animated or something, I'm okay with that, and I would actually almost prefer it, because I'm a bit of a weird fan. You know, because I fell in love with Power Rangers, and then Sentai as a result, and then fell backwards into Rider because it was so close to it, and I watched Masked Rider, but, like, I'm not enthused about the genre, in the sense that, like, I'm a sci-fi fan, so I'll seek out cool sci-fi movies or, like, sci-fi movies. But if someone recommends me, so, oh, this is a toku show, I'm like, not that interested. So I'm in a bit of a weird place because I don't really care about the genre so much. I care more about the storytelling. But I understand why people like that, and like one of the main things they like might be the live action format and the tokusatsu format, and that's what you want to see, and I understand that, and that's totally fine. Remember, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's more than possible that one of these shows, either now or in the future, could be that format. I just want to ask that people be open-minded, that different formats could lead to opening up new windows for new fans that might now then be able to appreciate the Toku version of PR that we've come to know. Another anxiety that I have addressed before is people are worried that it's just going to be animated MMPR everywhere, and I totally understand that. I really hope that isn't the case in terms of, if the main show is an animated MMPR that's good, like Shattered Grid or something, I'd be fine with that. But I hope that not every single show is like an MMPR type thing. With that being said, I have said this before, and it's a bit of a hot take. I would rather have an animated MMPR show with good storylines than what we've been getting now. Like, as cool as it is to refresh every year, it's so stagnant and blah that it's kind of like with the comics. Yeah, it's more MMPR, but I'd much rather have something like that with a good story than what we have now. But we'll just have to wait and see. But my main point of this video, guys, is to encourage you to keep an open mind. And there's a lot we don't know yet, and I feel like a lot of people are acting like certain things are set in stone, and they're projecting what they think is going to happen as a fact, and we don't know for sure. So just be patient and keep an open mind, and, you know, think more about what Power Rangers could be and not what it should be. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.